The classroom buzzed with quiet murmurs and occasional laughter. Rows of young aliens from every corner of the galaxy sat in neat lines, their unusual features reflecting the light of the holographic projectors above. Scales shimmered in green and blue, antennae twitched nervously, and feathers ruffled in the draft from the hovering fans. At the front of the room, a tall, confident alien named Terk stood with his hands on his hips, a smirk stretched across his sharp face. His tone was full of pride and a hint of arrogance. "Humans," he said loudly, glancing at a small figure at the back of the room, "do not fight without weapons. Your kind relies on sticks, stones, or tools, barehanded." "Impossible." She was small even for a human, with brown hair tied back in a practical braid and steady brown eyes that seemed calm and thoughtful. She did not flinch at Terk's words, nor did she look angry. Instead, she simply raised her hand, her gesture subtle but firm. The room fell silent. Many students turned, curious, and some whispered among themselves. The teacher, an older alien with silver feathers and gentle eyes, tilted his head and regarded Lyra. "You wish to speak?" he asked. Lyra shook her head slightly. "I do not wish to speak," she said softly. "I wish to demonstrate." "Show us what you mean." There was no magic, no flashing lights, no strange alien techniques, just a human preparing her body. Then, without warning, a hulking alien student stepped forward. He was covered in thick chitinous armor and had long claws that gleamed under the lights. His eyes narrowed as he looked at Lyra, amusement and confidence clear on his face. "Your turn," he said. "Show me what humans can do." She did not strike at him with force, but instead redirected his momentum, guiding his swing away. The alien stumbled slightly, his surprise visible. Her classmates whispered in astonishment. Some leaned forward, unable to believe what they were seeing. Lyra moved gracefully, almost like a dancer, each step precise, each motion deliberate. She did not attack recklessly. She waited, observed, and responded. The alien tried to hit her again, this time swinging with both claws. Lyra ducked under the first strike and sidestepped the second. With a small, careful motion, she tripped him lightly, sending him to the ground with a soft thud. He scrambled to get up, flustered and angry. Terk's smirk faded. He frowned, stepping closer. "Impossible," he muttered under his breath. Lyra stood calmly, breathing steadily. She did not boast. She did not raise her voice. Her power was quiet, unassuming, but undeniable. One by one, other alien students stepped forward to test her. Each was bigger, faster, or stronger than her. Some had natural weapons, claws, wings, or tails. Others could release bursts of energy or manipulate gravity around them. Yet each time, Lyra adapted. She used her opponent's strengths against them, predicting their moves and always keeping her balance. By the end of the demonstration, no one had been seriously hurt, but every challenger had been bested. The room was silent for a moment. Then, slowly, whispers began. "Humans," one student murmured, "they are different. You have earned respect today." Students watched her from afar, some trying to study her techniques, others simply amazed that a human could achieve so much without relying on natural powers or weapons. She did not seek attention, but her skill could not be ignored. Terk, meanwhile, struggled with a mix of feelings he had never experienced before. Pride, jealousy, and respect battled inside him. For the first time, someone had proven that humans were not weak. For the first time, he had to reconsider everything he thought he knew about other species, and about himself. Outside the classroom, in the training halls, Lyra continued her practice. She worked on her speed, her reflexes, and her ability to read opponents. She never fought to show off. She fought to learn, to grow, and to prepare for the challenges ahead. She knew the Academy would not let this demonstration go unnoticed. More tests, more fights, and greater challenges were coming. One afternoon, while practicing alone, a group of alien students approached. They were not aggressive, but curious. "Human," one said, his voice polite but cautious. "We saw your demonstration. How do you move like that? How can you anticipate our attacks?" They had trained for years, relying on strength and natural abilities, yet she had achieved what seemed impossible using only her mind, her body, and her will. Word of her skills spread quickly through the academy. By the end of the week, even the most skeptical students had begun to whisper. Perhaps humans were not to be underestimated. Perhaps they were capable of greatness in ways that others could not even imagine. Lyra herself paid little attention to the whispers. She focused on her training, on improving with each day. She knew this was only the beginning. There would be tournaments, challenges, and perhaps even real battles in the future. But she also knew something else, something that no alien could take away. Humans fight not just with their bodies, but with their minds and their hearts. and no one, no matter how strong, could take that away. As the sun set over the academy, casting long shadows across the training fields, Lyra stood alone for a moment, stretching and breathing in the cool evening air. She thought of the challenges ahead and felt a quiet determination rise inside her. The galaxy might doubt humans now, but that doubt would not last. Humans adapt, humans survive, and humans sometimes surprise everyone. In the distance, Terk watched from the shadows, his expression unreadable. He had underestimated her, and now he had to admit that humans were something extraordinary. He did not approach her. Not yet. He simply watched, learning perhaps what Lyra already knew, that power without understanding was nothing, and that humans, even small and quiet, could accomplish things others could not. The classroom had been the first stage. The galaxy would be the next. And Lyra, a quiet human girl with calm eyes, was ready. The days after the classroom demonstration were filled with whispers, stares, and quiet anticipation. Lyra walked through the academy halls with her usual calm demeanor, but the eyes of hundreds of students followed her. Some looked curious, others doubtful, and a few with admiration they could not yet put into words. Even the teachers occasionally watched her practice in the training fields, exchanging surprised glances as she moved. It was not long before the first challenge came. A group of alien students approached her after morning exercises. They were large, imposing, and confident, with muscles rippling under tough skin and eyes that glowed faintly with natural energy. Their leader, a tall alien with dark, metallic scales, stepped forward. "Human," he said, his voice deep and steady, "we have heard of your skills. It seems you can fight without weapons. We want to see this for ourselves. Are you willing to face us?" The group led her to an open arena in the center of the academy. It was circular, with smooth walls and a soft surface that could absorb impacts. Students gathered around the edges, forming a ring of silent spectators. The tension was thick, and every eye was fixed on Lyra. The first opponent stepped forward, a bulky alien with arms like tree trunks and claws that gleamed dangerously. He swung them in wide arcs, expecting to overpower her immediately. Lyra's stance was relaxed but precise. She did not rush forward. Instead, she observed. She noted how the alien shifted his weight, how his muscles tensed before each swing, and the rhythm of his attacks. Then, when he struck, she moved with him, stepping aside, ducking, and redirecting his momentum with small, careful gestures. The alien stumbled, surprised. His strength was unmatched, but his power worked against him when he could not control it perfectly. Lyra used that, slipping past his defenses and tapping his arm lightly in a motion that sent him off balance. He fell to the ground with a surprised grunt but was unharmed. A cheer erupted from the spectators. Even the larger, more confident aliens looked impressed. The next opponent was faster, a lithe alien with feathers that shimmered in the air as he darted toward her. His attacks were quick, precise, and hard to anticipate. Lyra's calm eyes followed him, analyzing his movements. She did not match his speed with brute force, but with anticipation. She stepped to the side just as he lunged, guiding him past her and letting him lose momentum. Then, using his own momentum, she performed a swift, controlled maneuver that brought him gently to the ground. Again, no serious harm was done, but the result was clear. Lyra could match skill with intelligence and strategy. The final opponent was their leader, the alien with the dark metallic scales. He had watched carefully, studying Lyra's movements and learning from the way she bested his companions. Now it was his turn. He moved slowly at first, circling her, testing her reactions. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, he lunged. Lyra met his attack with a calm sidestep, deflecting his strike without gripping or grabbing. He tried again, faster this time, but she anticipated his rhythm. Every time he struck, she moved just enough to avoid him, waiting for an opening. Finally, she saw it. The alien overextended in a powerful swing, and she acted. With a swift motion, she guided his momentum sideways, causing him to stumble and fall, his claws grazing the arena floor but not touching her. The spectators erupted into applause. Humans, they realized, were not just clever, they were disciplined, patient, and adaptable. They did not rely on raw power but on intelligence, timing, and understanding. The alien leader rose slowly, brushing himself off. His eyes met Lyra's, and for the first time he smiled, not with arrogance but with respect. "You are unlike any human I have ever imagined," he said. "You fight not with your strength but with your mind. Today you have earned our respect." Lyra faced creatures with long tails, retractable claws, and even those who could manipulate small energy fields. Each time she adapted, learning the limits of her own body while observing every opponent carefully. She never aimed to harm, only to control the situation and prove a point. Human skill was different, but it was effective. The academy itself began to change. Teachers noted that students who watched Lyra closely were improving in ways they had not expected. They were learning patience, observation, and adaptability, the human way of fighting. It was quiet, subtle, but effective. Lyra had not only proven herself, but had also begun to inspire others to think differently about combat. Terk, the student who had first declared humans weak, watched her closely. He could not deny what he had seen. Each day, he felt his confidence diminish as he realized that humans had an approach he had never considered. They were not stronger in the traditional sense, but they were clever, resourceful, and unyielding. One afternoon, Terk finally approached her. She was practicing alone in the training yard, performing precise movements and footwork. He stopped a few feet away, folding his arms. "Human," he said cautiously, "how do you do it? How do you face creatures stronger and faster than you and still win?" "Strength alone is not enough. You must understand yourself, your opponent, and the space around you. Then when the moment comes, you act." She faced challenge after challenge, each one tougher than the last. Students who had once doubted her began to approach her for advice. Some wanted to learn how to predict an opponent's movement. Others wanted to understand how she stayed calm under pressure. Lyra taught them patiently, showing them that victory did not come from aggression alone, but from understanding and control. Her reputation spread beyond the academy. Even visiting instructors from other schools began to watch her practice, taking notes and quietly discussing the unusual human skill. They spoke in hushed tones about patience, adaptability, and intelligence, qualities humans seemed to possess in abundance. Despite her growing fame, Lyra remained focused on her own training. She understood that these challenges were only the beginning. The Academy's tournament season was approaching, and she knew she would face opponents she could not yet imagine. They would be faster, stronger, and more experienced than anything she had encountered so far. But she did not fear them. She welcomed the challenge. Humans, she thought, were not meant to rely on raw power. They relied on ingenuity, courage, and resilience. And in a galaxy filled with powerful creatures, those qualities could be more effective than claws or energy blasts. One evening, after a particularly long day of training, Lyra sat quietly on the steps outside the academy, watching the twin suns set. Their light painted the sky in gold and red, and the distant mountains glowed softly. She felt a quiet determination inside her. The galaxy might doubt humans now, but that doubt would not last. Humans had survived impossible odds on their own world. They had thrived where others might fail. And now Lyra would show that same spirit here among the stars. From the shadows, Terk watched her again. He had tried to dismiss her, to laugh off her abilities, but he could not. She was patient, calm, and focused. Everything he thought he understood about strength and combat reversed. And he realized something important. Humans were not just another species. They were unique, and their power came from something deeper than muscle or speed. As night fell over the academy, the students returned to their quarters and the training grounds emptied. Lyra remained a few moments longer, stretching, practicing small movements, and thinking about the challenges ahead. She knew she had proven something important. Humans could fight without weapons, and they could teach others new ways to think about strength and combat. But she also knew that this was only the beginning. The tournament would be a true test, and she would face creatures who had never lost, creatures whose power dwarfed her own. Yet she was ready. She had something that none of them had fully understood yet, the human way. The next day, the academy buzzed with excitement. Word of Lyra's victories and calm confidence had spread even further. Students and teachers alike whispered about the quiet human girl who could outmaneuver the strongest and fastest. And in the center of it all, Lyra moved with quiet certainty, her eyes steady, her mind focused, and her heart determined. The first real test of her abilities, the one that would truly show what humans could do, was coming soon. And Lyra would meet it head-on, as she always had, calm, clever, and unstoppable in her own way. The galaxy might have thought humans were weak, but Lyra was about to show them that humans were something else entirely. The academy buzzed with excitement. The grand tournament was approaching, and students from every corner of the galaxy were preparing for the challenge. The arena was enormous, a vast circular field surrounded by seats and observation decks. Holographic projectors cast patterns of stars across the walls, creating the illusion that the battles were taking place in open space. Lyra walked calmly through the hallways, her braid swinging lightly behind her. She did not need to shout, boast, or demand attention. The whispers and curious glances followed her naturally. Everyone knew that she had defeated stronger, faster, and larger opponents in the training fields. Now the stakes were higher. The first day of the tournament arrived. Students gathered in the arena, their eyes wide with anticipation. Humans were still a mystery to most, and Lyra's name had spread quickly. Some students looked nervous, others confident. None of them had faced a human like Lyra before. Lyra's first opponent was a creature from the planet Krillon, a large, muscular alien with thick, golden fur and 4 powerful arms. Its species was known for strength and endurance, capable of lifting weights far heavier than any human could. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena, introducing the competitors. Lyra stepped forward calmly, her hands open at her sides, her stance balanced. She did not rush. The Krillonian roared, pounding the ground with its fists. Dust rose into the air, and the spectators gasped at the display of raw power. The fight began. The Krillonian swung with all 4 arms, each strike heavy and forceful. Lyra moved carefully, sidestepping, ducking, and using the alien's momentum against it. She did not strike with brute force. Instead, she guided the alien's movements, redirecting its energy. When it lunged too far, she tripped it gently, bringing it to the ground without causing harm. The audience erupted into applause. Humans, they realized, were not just clever, they were patient, precise, and unyielding. Lyra had won the first match without striking a heavy blow. Her technique was different, almost elegant, yet completely effective. Next, she faced a creature from Terrigen, a slender alien with translucent skin and glowing veins. This opponent relied on speed and agility, darting around the arena like a living shadow. Most of the students watching assumed Lyra would struggle against such a fast and unpredictable fighter. Lyra observed. She studied the Terrigonian's patterns, watching how it shifted weight, the rhythm of its steps, and the subtle signals it gave before each strike. When the alien lunged, she was already prepared, moving in ways that seemed small but precise. She let it pass by, guiding its movements carefully, and when the opportunity appeared, she used a controlled maneuver to bring it to a gentle fall. Again, she won without harm. The crowd whispered in awe. Humans, it seemed, did not need raw strength, natural weapons, or advanced abilities to triumph. Their intelligence and timing were weapons in themselves. The third opponent was more challenging. A large alien with stone-like skin and spikes running down its back entered the arena. This species was known for its durability and sheer power. The crowd held its breath. Many expected the match to end quickly in favor of the alien. The fight began with a series of heavy strikes. Lyra dodged, ducked, and moved lightly, conserving her energy and watching her opponent. She noticed something. Its spikes made it slower when turning. She used that observation to her advantage, predicting its movements and avoiding the heaviest attacks. With precise timing, she guided it into a gentle stumble, using balance rather than force. The alien struggled to rise, and the match ended. Lyra remained calm, her breathing steady. She had faced opponents stronger than her in body and power, yet she triumphed using strategy, observation, and patience. After these rounds, word spread quickly among the competitors. The human girl was not only skilled but unique. She taught, without speaking, that victory could come from calmness, cleverness, and adaptation. Many aliens began to watch her closely, trying to learn her methods. Terk observed from the sidelines, his expression thoughtful. He had dismissed humans once, but Lyra's victories challenged every belief he held. He could see her mind at work, every step calculated, every movement precise. She was not only fighting, she was teaching, proving that humans had an advantage that brute strength could not match. The semifinals approached. Lyra's next opponent was a student Terk had chosen, a species known for speed, intelligence, and ferocity. The alien moved quickly, striking with sharp claws and small energy bursts. Most spectators assumed that this match would be Lyra's first real test. The fight began. The alien attacked with rapid movements, trying to overwhelm her. Lyra remained calm. She did not panic. She watched, learned, and adapted. Each strike the alien made was met with a precise sidestep or gentle redirection. Her small frame moved with surprising speed and balance. At one point, the alien attempted a spinning strike, expecting to catch her off guard. Lyra anticipated it. She shifted her weight slightly, using the alien's momentum to bring it to the ground without causing injury. The crowd gasped. This was not brute force. It was intelligence in motion. The alien struggled, then nodded in respect. Lyra had defeated it, not through raw power, but through strategy, timing, and observation. Even the teachers were impressed. Humans, they realized, had an approach to combat that was unmatched in the galaxy. Terk stepped forward after the match, his face serious. He had been arrogant, confident in his species' strength. But now he could not deny the truth. Humans were different. They were clever, adaptable, and fearless in ways that others could not anticipate. "Human," he said quietly, "you are unlike any creature I have faced. Your strength is in your mind, not your muscles." Few can think clearly in the moment. Her heartbeat was steady, her breathing controlled. She had faced stronger, faster, and more unpredictable opponents before. This was no different. The match began. The champion attacked with ferocity, using strength, claws, and energy bursts. Lyra moved precisely, sidestepping, redirecting, and guiding. Each time the champion lunged, she anticipated the strike and adjusted her movements. The audience watched in astonishment as the human girl seemed to dance around the attacks, never striking with brute force but always controlling the encounter. The champion became frustrated. It swung harder, faster, trying to overwhelm her. Lyra remained calm. She noticed a pattern. After each burst, the champion paused for a fraction of a second. That fraction of a second was all she needed. With careful timing, she guided the champion's own momentum, bringing it to the ground in a gentle, controlled fall. The arena erupted. Lyra had won, not with violence, not with energy, but with intelligence, patience, and skill. The whispers turned into cheers. The spectators clapped and shouted, amazed by the quiet human girl who had defeated a champion. Even Terk's expression softened. He could no longer dismiss her. Humans were something extraordinary. Their power came not from natural weapons or raw force, but from their minds, their patience, and their courage. After the match, Lyra returned to the sidelines. She was tired but not exhausted. She had faced multiple opponents, each stronger and faster than her in different ways, yet she had triumphed. Her calmness, focus, and intelligence had guided her to victory. Teachers and students alike gathered around her. They asked questions, eager to learn how she moved, how she thought, and how she could remain so calm under pressure. Lyra explained simply, observe, understand, and act with precision. Strength alone was not enough. That evening, Lyra walked through the academy grounds, reflecting on the day. The tournament had tested her, challenged her, and proved something important. Humans could fight against any species, using intelligence, patience, and courage. They did not need weapons or natural powers to survive and thrive. Terk approached quietly. He did not speak at first, simply observing her as she practiced small movements and stretches. Finally, he spoke. "You have shown all of us that humans are more than we imagined," he said. "Your way of fighting, it is different but powerful. I have underestimated you." Strength is not always obvious. Sometimes it is quiet, like the mind of a human. The day ended with the crowd leaving the arena, buzzing with excitement and admiration. Lyra remained a moment longer, standing tall, reflecting on what she had achieved. She had faced her first real tournament challenge and had shown the galaxy that humans were something extraordinary. The tournament was far from over. There would be greater challenges ahead, opponents stronger and faster than any she had faced. But Lyra was ready. She had proven herself once, and she would do it again. Humans, she thought, were not only survivors, they were thinkers, learners, and fighters in their own unique way. And the galaxy was only beginning to understand what that meant. The Academy hummed with energy as the next day of the grand tournament began. Word of Lyra's victories had spread far and wide, and the arena was crowded with spectators from multiple planets. Students and teachers alike whispered about the quiet human girl who had already defeated the strongest fighters in the early rounds. Many had come to see her in person, curious and skeptical, unsure how a human could continue winning against larger, faster, and more experienced opponents. Lyra walked calmly through the corridors, her braids swaying gently with each step. She felt no nervousness, only focus. The lessons of the previous matches were clear in her mind. Observe, adapt, and act with precision. Her calmness had become her strength, and she intended to use it fully today. Her first opponent of the day was an alien from the planet Viral, a creature covered in thick metallic scales that shimmered like silver in the arena lights. It had long claws and could emit small bursts of energy from its palms. The crowd murmured in anticipation, certain that this opponent would be too much for a human to handle. Lyra stepped onto the arena floor, placing her feet firmly and keeping her hands open at her sides. She did not look afraid. Her opponent roared, raising its claws, and then launched a series of attacks that were both fast and powerful. The energy bursts crackled through the air, forcing students in the stands to duck instinctively. Lyra moved like water, flowing around the attacks, sidestepping the claws and energy bursts with careful timing. She did not attempt to strike back with force. She only guided the alien's momentum, using its own energy to unbalance it. Each movement was precise, efficient, and purposeful. With one final, subtle maneuver, she caused the alien to stumble and fall gently to the ground. The arena erupted in cheers. The students were amazed. Lyra had again won without relying on weapons, brute strength, or energy powers. Her calm focus and intelligence were enough to outmatch even the most powerful opponents. Next came an opponent from Keltor, a species known for incredible agility and reflexes. The Keltorian moved like a blur, darting across the arena, spinning and striking with lightning speed. Many spectators held their breath, certain that the human could not possibly keep up. Lyra watched carefully. She observed the pattern in the alien's movements, noting the tiny tells before each strike. She did not try to match the Keltorian's speed with raw motion. Instead, she moved at just the right moments, anticipating where the alien would go next. When the Keltorian lunged, she stepped aside smoothly, letting its momentum carry it past her, then guided it to a soft, controlled fall. The crowd gasped. Lyra had done it again. Even the fastest, most unpredictable opponent was no match for her intelligence and strategy. Whispers of admiration ran through the audience. "Humans," they murmured, "they are not to be underestimated. Do not rush, do not panic. Strength is not only power, it is control." The semifinals were more intense than any previous matches. Lyra's opponent was a veteran student known for victories across multiple tournaments. He was larger, stronger, and more experienced than anyone she had faced before. The crowd quieted as both stepped into the arena. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, the human against the champion. The veteran moved first, attacking with a combination of strength, speed, and energy bursts. Lyra remained calm. She observed his patterns, noting how he shifted weight, the timing of his strikes, and the subtle pauses in his movements. She did not rush. She moved with precision, sidestepping, guiding, and redirecting. The veteran became frustrated. No human had ever withstood his attacks so consistently. He tried harder, faster, and more aggressively, but Lyra adapted to each move. Her mind worked as fast as her body, predicting, responding, and guiding. She did not strike to injure but to control, using the veteran's own power to unbalance him. Finally, she saw the opening she had been waiting for. The veteran overextended in a powerful swing, and Lyra acted. With a swift, gentle motion, she redirected his momentum, causing him to stumble and fall. The arena erupted. The veteran rose slowly, brushing himself off, and nodded in respect. Lyra had won. Once again, she had demonstrated that human skill was not about brute force. It was about intelligence, observation, patience, and control. As the semifinals ended, the crowd continued to whisper. Humans were no longer underestimated. Lyra had proven something extraordinary, that even against the strongest and most skilled opponents, humans could triumph. Between the semifinals and finals, Lyra practiced quietly. She knew the final match would be her greatest challenge yet. Her opponent was the Academy's top-ranked fighter, undefeated for years. Larger, faster, and more experienced than anyone she had faced, this final match would test everything she had learned. When the time came, the arena was filled to capacity. Holographic lights projected stars across the ceiling, making it feel like the battle was taking place in the galaxy itself. Lyra walked calmly to the center, facing the top-ranked champion. The crowd held its breath. This would be the ultimate test. The champion attacked immediately, a blur of speed and power. Lyra moved with calm precision, sidestepping, redirecting, and observing. Each strike she avoided gave her new information. She studied the champion's patterns, his pauses, and his rhythm. She did not strike recklessly. She waited for the perfect moment. The champion became frustrated. Every attack was anticipated, every movement countered. Lyra's calmness was unnerving. The champion swung harder, faster, and with more force, but she adapted. She guided his momentum, avoiding injury and keeping control of the fight. Finally, the moment came. The champion overextended in a powerful strike, and Lyra acted. She moved with precision, redirecting his strength, and caused him to stumble gently. The crowd gasped in awe. She had defeated the Academy's top-ranked fighter without harming him. The audience erupted into cheers. Students and instructors alike were astonished. Lyra had shown that humans could achieve what others could not through brute strength, speed, or natural powers, but through intelligence, patience, and skill. Even Terk stepped forward. His expression was serious, respectful, and thoughtful. "I underestimated humans," he said quietly. "Their strength is unlike anything I imagined." "Strength is not always obvious," she replied. "It is patience, observation, and understanding. Power is not only force. True strength comes from knowing yourself and your opponent." Many students tried to mimic her movements, inspired by the quiet power she displayed. That evening, Lyra walked through the academy grounds, reflecting on the day. She had faced the strongest opponents yet, and each time her calm intelligence had guided her to victory. Humans, she realized, were not only survivors but thinkers, learners, and fighters in their own unique way. Terk watched her quietly from a distance. He had seen humans underestimated time and again, yet here was a single human girl who had defeated the strongest fighters in the academy. He realized that humans' greatest weapon was not their bodies but their minds. Lyra had proven it through patience, observation, and skill. As night fell, the academy quieted. Lyra practiced small movements and stretches, her focus unwavering. She knew greater challenges lay ahead. The final rounds of the tournament were coming, and opponents from other schools and planets would test her in ways she had not yet imagined. But she was ready. She had proven that humans could fight against stronger, faster, and more skilled opponents using only intelligence, adaptability, and courage. She had shown that human strength was different, subtle, quiet, and powerful in ways the galaxy had not yet fully understood. Lyra looked up at the stars projected above the arena. They seemed endless, like the challenges ahead. And she smiled faintly, knowing that humans would face them all with calmness, cleverness, and courage. The galaxy might doubt humans, but those doubts would fade in time. Lyra would see to that. The day of the final match arrived, and the entire academy seemed to vibrate with excitement. Students from dozens of planets filled the observation decks, their faces filled with curiosity, skepticism, and awe. The arena was larger than ever, circular and open, with soft flooring designed to absorb impacts. Holographic projectors lit the space with constellations and distant galaxies, giving the feeling that the fight would take place among the stars. Lyra walked calmly to the center of the arena. Her braids swayed lightly with each step. She did not look nervous. Her calm eyes surveyed the crowd, then focused on the champion waiting for her. This opponent was unlike any she had faced before. Taller, faster, and more experienced, the alien had earned the title of Academy Champion for years. Its reputation alone caused even seasoned students to whisper in concern. The champion stepped forward, its armor glinting in the light. Muscles bulged beneath scales harder than any human could imagine. Its claws were sharp, and small energy bursts sparkled along its arms. The audience held its breath, knowing this would be Lyra's ultimate test. Lyra took a deep breath, centering herself. She had faced powerful, fast, and skilled opponents before, and each had taught her something new. She had learned to observe patterns, anticipate strikes, and use her opponent's strength against them. Today would be no different. She was ready. The champion lunged first, a blur of speed and power. Its attacks came in waves, fast, sharp, and relentless. Lyra moved calmly, sidestepping, ducking, and using her opponent's momentum to guide it away from her. Each movement was precise, each dodge controlled. She did not strike with force. Instead, she waited for the perfect moment to act. The champion grew frustrated. No human had ever resisted its attacks so consistently. It struck harder, faster, and with more energy than ever before, yet Lyra adapted to each move. She read the tiny tells in its stance, the subtle pauses between attacks, the rhythm of its footwork. Every strike gave her information, every movement a clue. The crowd watched in amazement. Lyra was small, human, and unarmed, yet she moved with intelligence, patience, and skill that outmatched brute strength and natural power. Students and teachers whispered, "Humans, they are extraordinary." Her goal was to demonstrate something deeper. Humans could survive and excel through intelligence, patience, and determination. Every sidestep, every redirection, every controlled fall was a lesson in strategy, precision, and focus. Finally, after several minutes of careful maneuvers, the champion made a critical mistake. It lunged in a powerful, wide strike, overextending its strength. Lyra had been waiting. With a swift, subtle motion, she guided its momentum, causing it to stumble gently and fall. The arena went silent for a moment, then erupted into cheers. Lyra had won. The human girl had defeated the Academy's undefeated champion using only her intelligence, skill, and calm focus. She did not strike with force, nor did she rely on weapons. She had proven something extraordinary. The champion rose slowly, shaking its head in astonishment. Its expression softened, and it extended a claw toward Lyra, not in attack, but in respect. Lyra nodded calmly, acknowledging her opponent's skill. The crowd erupted into even louder applause, cheering for the quiet human who had just rewritten what everyone thought was possible. Terk, who had watched the entire match, stepped forward. His usual confidence was gone, replaced by admiration and awe. "I was wrong," he said quietly. Humans are unlike any other species. Your strength is not in your muscles or your weapons, but in your mind, your focus, and your courage. It is patience, understanding, and control. Brute force can win battles, but intelligence wins wars. Courage allows you to face challenges no matter how impossible they seem. Lyra shared what she could: observe, anticipate, adapt, and act with precision. She explained that humans relied not on raw strength, but on thought, learning, and perseverance. The audience, both in the arena and watching from afar, began to understand something important. Humans were not the fastest or the strongest, but they were survivors. They adapted, learned, and overcame challenges through intelligence and determination. Lyra had become the living proof of that truth. That evening, as the sun set over the academy, Lyra walked quietly through the training grounds. Her braids swayed gently in the soft breeze, and her footsteps were light but confident. Students approached her, asking to practice with her, hoping to learn the human way of fighting. Teachers observed, taking notes for future lessons. Even Terk watched from a distance, his expression thoughtful. Humans, Lyra realized, were underestimated far too often. Their greatest strength was their mind, the ability to adapt, learn, and persevere. Today, she had shown the galaxy that humans were not to be dismissed. They could stand against the strongest, fastest, and most skilled opponents and emerge victorious. The academy grounds were quiet now, but the impact of her victories would last for generations. Students would speak of the human girl who defeated the undefeated champion. Teachers would remember the intelligence and precision she displayed. And across the galaxy, whispers would spread. Humans were extraordinary, capable of greatness in ways no one had imagined. Lyra sat quietly for a moment, looking up at the stars projected above the arena. She thought of the challenges she had faced, the opponents she had defeated, and the lessons she had learned. Every fight had been a test, not only of skill, but of patience, focus, and courage. Humans, she realized, were built for more than survival. They were built for triumph. Terk approached her once more, stepping softly onto the training grounds. "You have taught all of us something," he said. "Humans are clever, adaptable, and fearless. I underestimated you, and now I see the truth." She received praise, awards, and recognition for her achievements, but she remained humble. She did not boast. She did not demand attention. She had proven what humans were capable of, and that was enough. Students from other species approached her, asking for lessons, eager to learn how humans thought about combat. Lyra taught them patiently, showing that victory could come through observation, adaptability, and calm focus. Her quiet approach inspired others, teaching them that intelligence and courage were as powerful as strength and speed. Terk, who had once mocked humans, now followed her example. He watched, learned, and practiced her methods, realizing that raw power alone was never enough. Humans had a way of thinking that could overcome even the greatest obstacles, and Lyra had shown him firsthand. As days passed, Lyra continued to train, not for personal glory, but to improve, to teach, and to inspire. She knew that the galaxy was full of challenges, and humans would need to face many more. But she also knew that humans had something unique: courage, intelligence, and the ability to adapt. And the galaxy had seen it. Today, one quiet human girl had changed the perception of an entire academy. Tomorrow, humans would face even greater challenges, and they would meet them with the same courage, focus, and cleverness that Lyra had shown. Lyra stood on the training field one last time before leaving the arena. The stars projected above shimmered, casting light on her calm face. She thought of all the opponents she had faced, all the lessons she had learned, and all the victories she had achieved. Humans, she realized, had shown their worth, not through weapons, not through brute strength, but through intelligence, courage, and determination. The academy had witnessed something extraordinary. A human had risen, quietly, patiently, and with unwavering focus to become the champion. And in doing so, she had shown the galaxy what humans were truly capable of. Lyra walked away from the arena, her steps steady and confident. She knew this was only the beginning. The universe was vast, full of challenges, and full of unknown opponents. But humans had proven something important. No matter the odds, no matter the strength of others, intelligence, courage, and perseverance could overcome anything. And somewhere in the shadows of the stands, Terk watched her walk away. He had learned something he would never forget. Humans were not to be underestimated. They were not just survivors. They were thinkers, fighters, and innovators. They were extraordinary. Lyra glanced back once at the arena, a faint smile on her face. The galaxy might have doubted humans before, but now one quiet human girl had changed everything. Humans had shown their true strength, quiet, clever, and unstoppable. The stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the courage and intelligence of one human girl. Lyra stepped forward, ready for whatever challenge the universe might send next, knowing that humans, in their own way, could face anything and win. The galaxy had seen humanity's power, and it would never forget it.